Deputy President William Samoei Ruto is overseas, specifically in America, and headed to the UK. From there, he's spitting fire. We want to look at this trip, and we begin by saying that this trip is sort of an climax, that his supporters and followers and fans are sort of being treated to something they didn't expect. I think when he announced that he was going to America with a large delegation, many of his followers were led into believing this was a high-stakes tour, official, and that he will be meeting big boys in America. Unfortunately for Ruto's followers, that's why I'm saying it's a climax. He's had very inconsequential meetings. He's had what one could rightly call kindergarten meetings. He's met low-key persons. And even when he has been received by a state, it is an outlandish small state and inconsequential Nebraska. It has been said on social media that his planned tour, or I think it has taken place, of the White House is actually a tour anybody can take to walk around the White House and not meet anybody. So for Ruto's followers, this trip has been anticlimax and a little hurting. Hurting because when Uhuru Kenyatta goes overseas, even on a private mission, you can see the kind of engagements he has. When Ruto's competitor, rival, Raila Amolo Odinga is in the UK, in America, even here in Africa, at the AU and so on and so forth, the kind of engagements, the kind of people he meets, the kind of agenda, the diary. So I think Ruto's supporters were hoping that Ruto was going to match Ruto and was going to match Uhuru and Raila and up his take and his game. Because you need international support. That kind of points to you. If this late into the day, you are still trying to get international recognition with just a couple of months to an election, and you are not doing very well at it, you are not very well at it, you have not had any serious engagement, that tells you that you have far to go. And that, to be fair to yourself, your eyes should be on 2032 or earliest 2027. Because these international connections are important, international recognition. And if you are starting that low, and therefore I'm saying this is a little hurting to his followers. The second thing that comes out of this trip, you can read a tired Ruto going for a rest, which is good. So the trip is good for Ruto because he has been campaigning for a long time. And with the entry of Azimio and lately of Uhuru Kenyatta, has meant he's going to run round the clock. And therefore he needed a break. And he's taken a well-earned, well-deserved break. So don't blame him for not doing anything major. If he is able to rest in America, then that's good enough for Ruto. While in America also, and the UK where he's headed, Ruto has had time to look back into the country. Especially wanting to see whether or not, in his absence, his lieutenants can carry on the struggle in the manner in which people like Joho are able to carry on Raila's struggle, able to carry rallies, hold rallies, have engagements, please some of them, even without Raila being in the country. I think from that angle, he is not a very happy man. He must be seeing the reality on the ground is that matching Raila in terms of the generals around you and lieutenants and being able to make sure a campaign goes on so that you can take time off to relax or to attend may not be very easy for him in the manner in which it is easy for Raila Odinga. Something else about this trip is that from far, from overseas, Ruto has been able to see what is going on using a bird's view of Kenya. You are in the sky and you are looking at Kenya. And he has seen what has happened. He has seen the confusion, a near mess brought by people like Rigathi Gachagua when they say that it is settled the running mate will come from Mount Kenya. That has been bad for the coalition, Kenya Kwanza coalition. And of barbs and jabs and all manner of things being flown and coming from people like Malala. In other words, he can see that his house is not in order. You know, when you are away, you have a fairly good view of what's going on. If you are not in the field, if you are on the sidelines, if you are on the bench, you can see how the game is being played. And from America, William Samoei Ruto has been able to see that the ground is not as good for him as he had imagined. There's a lot of confusion. Again, something else about the trip is about the kind of things Ruto has said from America. What comes out prominently and which many people have engaged, media, including international media, is how a sitting deputy president is able to say the kind of things Ruto says about the Kenyan government, about Uhuru Kenyatta. From America, from American soil, Deputy President William Ruto has thrown allegations that democracy is on the line, democracy in the ballot, that there are people intent on sabotaging the will of the Kenyan people, that there could be plans afloat to ensure that other people, not him, read Raila Odinga, wins by hook or by crook. That there are forces, and these are government forces most likely, out to push and ensure that they subvert the will of the Kenyan voter. That people are forced to elect a certain person. That from Ruto and from America. He has also attacked the Uhuru government in matters of corruption, even being specific about the kind of monies set aside to be looted by the Uhuru government. Now, you could see this as spitting fire. Fine. But the question that must come to mind and which must occupy thinking people is, what does the host think? When you talk to people in America attacking a government of which you are part, you are creating a very awkward situation. Why? Because Americans and the British people, the West generally, and other civilized societies in the Eastern world, China, Japan, have gotten to a place where even the slightest disagreement between a deputy and his boss will lead only to one thing: resignation. That you cannot imagine a situation where the US vice president says bad things about the US president and remains vice president. The people you are talking to can't imagine that human beings can behave like that. So as you talk to them badly about the government of which you are still deputy president, they can't understand what you are talking about. You come out extremely badly. Because these people have reached a level where even if there was just a slip of the tongue, an unintended slip of the tongue from the vice president of America, that tends to suggest even remotely that he has something negative, something bad about the US president, a slip of the tongue, remotely, I repeat, remotely suggesting there's a difference between him, even in matters of opinion, with the president of the United States, within an hour he will have resigned. So those are the people you are talking to. And they are really wondering, these Africans, are they really human beings? So you are coming out very badly, not only embarrassing the country, not only embarrassing the African people, you are embarrassing yourself and coming out badly. But then this leads me to something else. This Ruto problem, we shall have to call it the Ruto problem. You could say it's the Huru problem. It must take us, must invite us to have a real look at the Constitution. Are we as a people ready to carry on with the constitutional provision that leads to a Sankara Kampore almost situation, where a couple lives in a very and extremely abusive, hugely abusive marriage, and because by law, by provision of the Constitution, they cannot divorce, even when there is the danger that one can kill the other, even when there are clear indications that in this house we can wake up tomorrow and find somebody has killed their spouse. But because of the provisions of the Constitution, they are tied together. Kenyans will have to look at this provision because it's now beyond us. We are parading ourselves before the world. We are parading ourselves before the world and showing the kind of people we are. And if I invite Kenyans to have a real look at the Kenyan Constitution and create a situation where the president has somebody they can dismiss. Because the situation we are in, where it can only be done, but it cannot be done at all, presupposes we have gotten to a level where we are gentlemen and ladies, where when you you disagree fundamentally with your boss, you take a walk, you go away. We are not willing to do that. And therefore, this constitutional provision that ties the deputy president to the president, we must have a real look at it. Because we are going to get even a messier situation, much more awkward situations. And the international community is going to laugh at us. Finally, my reading again from this tour tells me something. And I'm reading this from the looser lingo, now increasingly being associated with William Samoei Ruto. If you have followed the elections at any level, you will know how losers speak. When somebody has sensed defeat, there's a way in which they speak. There's a language they speak. There is a lamentation. There are complaints at every turn that I'm being harassed, rigging is afoot, that my competitors are this, that they have government funding, government support. That language is increasingly becoming associated with William Samoei Ruto, and is what I call the loser lingo, the language of the loser. What is this going to do to William Ruto? First of all, the confidence for which he is known. If there are things that have propelled Ruto to where he is, top on the list is confidence. That self-confidence. The moment it is destroyed, as I can see, is about to be destroyed. How do you destroy confidence? There is the element of irritating somebody. When you notice that your competitor easily gets irritated, you do the sort of things that will irritate him. And once he is irritated, he speaks in the manner in which William Ruto is now speaking. Because from one of those meetings, a lady asked him about his perceived corruption or whatever it is. And he jumped up. Immediately the cool was lost. The confidence disappeared, I think, or so he appeared to be speaking confidently. But the words that are coming out are somebody who has been rattled. And the confidence is now going to disappear. You get annoyed. You get angry. Because there is no way, if you look at it properly, there is no way William Ruto, the deputy president, could say the kind of things he has said about the government in terms of corruption, unless he was speaking out of anger. And you are irritated, you are angry, you are annoyed, you are lamenting. That is a loser lingo. And the net effect of that lingo is to destroy that has held you up there, which is confidence. So you can imagine Ruto minus the confidence is a finished person. I therefore see a situation where in the next 2 or 3 months, the fullness of time, all and sundry will see that the presidency for William Samoei Ruto is a mirage, at least for 2022.